Let's chat Miami Dolphins now. Trading Devante Parker. Interesting. Let's discuss it. Comes to us from Peter King, who floated this out there in his Monday morning column, saying, hey, maybe Chris Grier, it would not surprise him, Peter King says, if he tries to move Devante Parker, which it's bold, which is a nice way of me saying that's kind of crazy. Look, the Dolphins move up to number 6. They have somebody or some buddies in mind with what they want to do at that spot. And there will be at least 2 of the receivers on the board for Miami at pick number 6. But moving away to his best playmaker? I don't know about that one. So what do you guys think? You're in charge of the Dolphins. What are you doing? What are you doing with Parker? Type T for trade or type in K for keep. If you were the decider for the Dolphins, if you're Chris Grier and Brian Flores, all that stuff, what move are you making? Get your votes in for me. T for trade or type in K for keep. I say you keep him because even if you want to get a new playmaker in round 1, Devante Parker's good. And yes, he was banged up this past year, and there was the quarterback carousel for the Dolphins, but Tua's clearly the guy this upcoming season. Parker, who the Dolphins were so patient with, and who I genuinely thought the breakout was never going to come, it did come in 2019, and he was still good in 2020. And now you look at what the Dolphins have at receiver, where there's Devante Parker and Will Fuller and Jakeem Grant and Preston Williams and Lynn Bowden and I guess Isaiah Ford and Robert Foster. Okay, if you suddenly remove Devante Parker from that equation, receiver becomes the team's biggest need because there's Will Fuller and some fun guys in Grant and Foster and Bowden, some speedy guys there, some slot guys in Bowden and Perry, and Preston Williams could be an outside guy, but it's probably more of a receiver 4 at this point here. So no, I don't love the idea of trading Devante Parker. In fact, what intrigues me more from a Dolphins-focused perspective, you're trying to build around Tua, right? Add more talent. Don't trade away a receiver, then take a receiver with your first-round pick. That doesn't make any sense. Stick with your receiver and add another playmaker. And add a Devonta Smith or Jamar Chase or Jaylen Waddle or hell, even a Kyle Pitts if you want to get weird with it. Yes, you got to worry down there about paying all those guys. I guess the Dolphins have plenty of cap space, and they're trying to put Tua in the best possible position. The best way to do that is to keep your really good receiver who's not even 30 yet. Like, don't move on from Devante Parker. I get you're trying to maximize your assets, but Parker, Will Fuller, and one of these 4 guys on your team? Well, that's really intriguing. I think that's a great idea for Miami. Or even Penei Sewell if you want to go that route. Now, let's say, hypothetically, Dolphins at 6, Penei Sewell's off the board. He goes either 4 or 5 to the Falcons or Bengals. All 4 guys end up being on the board for you, which is a realistic outcome, by the way. That's a real possibility. Who would you rather have on this team? Type S for Devonta Smith, W for Jaylen Waddle, type C for Jamar Chase, and type P for Kyle Pitts. Get your votes in for me, S, W, C, or P. More Dolphins talk here. How about Jadeveon Clowney? We've mentioned this before, last year actually. Bleacher Report says the Dolphins are a fit for Clowney, and it makes some sense because Miami has tried to get Clowney in the past. If they tried to trade for him, Clowney said no. They tried to sign him, Clowney said no. And now that he's coming off yet another down year, is try number 3, the magical one for both sides. The need is still there for Miami. Is the desire, though. Because you look at what Clowney has done, and his trend is downwards. And it's not in the correct direction. Yes, it was only 8 games. Tackle for loss numbers are still pretty good. But 4 tackles for loss, 0 sacks, that's not enough, especially factoring the type of money that Clowney was searching for last year. So the value side of it is very much unclear. Now, BR put together 5 teams, part of this article that they did. The Cleveland Browns, who did visit with Clowney, mind you. The Dolphins, the Colts, the Steelers, and the Texans, too, because that's fun, right? You put him back on his old team. No Seahawks on there, though. It does make some sense to me. And for the Dolphins, multiple front defense, in this case, look at the 3-4 front, so your base unit, right? You'll pull one of those interior guys off the field probably on third downs and put a corner out there. Manuel Alba coming off a fantastic year for Miami, a true breakout year. Beyond him, though, from an edge rusher perspective, so not Christian Wilkins, not Raekwon Davis, Van Ginkel put up decent numbers, but do you trust him to be a legitimate guy? I kind of don't. So because of that, from an immediate need perspective, Clowney does make sense. He would be a fit from that perspective. It's a matter of what the cost looks like. And, of course, how Clowney values himself. Miami's not going to sit around for months waiting for Clowney to make a decision. They'll draft someone early with all of their draft picks, right? So if they don't have somebody by the draft, they're going to take him. So for Clowney, part of this is on him. When does he want to sign and for how much? I kind of think Clowney likes not having to go super urgent and have an entire offseason of camp of working. I think that's easier on him. So does he want to go early? I don't know. Maybe. What do you want to do? You're in charge of Miami. Do you want to sign Jadeveon Clowney? Get your votes in here for me. Why for yes and for no would you try to go out and get Clowney this offseason? Again, keep your votes coming in there. Why for yes and for no? What do you want to do? At the right cost, the answer is yes, of course, right? I am not going to throw him $13 million. Absolutely not. If he wants to cut that in half, okay, we can have that conversation. Anything more than that, I think Miami's better start looking in a different direction. So get your votes in there. Why for yes or and for no? Long expected, but also, once again, reportedly official, right? The NFL is moving to a 17-game schedule for this upcoming season. This has been reported many a time, was mentioned again by Adam Schefter at NFL.com, so we're bringing it back up again. As has been the expectation, extra game gets added, no extra bye week, and just 3 preseason games. Not even 2 has been discussed. It's 3 down from the more typical 4. Now, there are some NFL players, mind you, who are not fans of this particular move, which I do think makes some sense. Alvin Kamara among the outspoken ones. But we knew this was coming. This was a very clear path that was being headed down. I use passive voice poorly. Once the NFL moved to make all this happen. This was going to be the case, and it was expected it was going to happen this year, especially as the new TV contract money gets to hit around the NFL. Now, as we've mentioned before, we do know the assumed matchups. It's cross-division AFC versus NFC. AFC expected to host in this upcoming 2020 season, and then it flips for 2022. So it's Washington at Buffalo, Giants at Miami, the Cowboys at the Patriots, Eagles at the Jets. Of course, it's matched up based on where they finished last season. So number 1 seed versus number 1, number 4 versus number 4, all that good stuff. Fun matchup, by the way, Seahawks at the Steelers. Ooh, that's an interesting, juicy matchup. Rams at the Ravens, Cardinals at Browns, Niners at Bengals. Who will start at quarterback? I guess we'll find out. The Saints at the Titans, the Bucks at the Colts, Brady versus Wentz, the Panthers at the Houston Texans, and the Falcons at the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is not the most appealing option ever. I think the best matchup of these new extra 17-game matchup, the Packers at the Chiefs. Man, that one should be a primetime game. That's awesome football. The Bears take on the Raiders, which I'm very intrigued by because it's the Khalil Mack revenge game. Vikings at the Chargers. The Detroit Lions, by the way, also taking on the Denver Broncos. So 2 not-so-great teams that could maybe have a different quarterback in 2021 and potentially even in 2022 if things get really weird. So what do you guys think about the assumed 17-game season? Do you like this? Is this a path that you think the NFL should be going down? First time in a long time they've added games to the schedule here. Get your votes in for me. Do you like the 17-game season? Type in Y for yes or type in N for no.